Hello, my name is Aaron Beveridge, the Director of Cultural Analytics for the MSIA program. And this video is an introduction to the Cultural Analytics concentration, and it will provide an overview of the courses, the content, and potential capstones for students who are interested in this concentration. So, what is cultural analytics? Let's start by reading this first bullet point. Cultural analytics researches the circulation, defined as trends or diffusion, in the cultural significant engagement or impact of digital artifacts using text mining, natural language processing, and microprocessors and sensors, what we broadly know as Internet of Things. So, to summarize, we're interested in things like text, audio, and video as they circulate among social networks, among websites, and places where you can get digital content. How those artifacts are circulated among mobile applications and mobile devices, and then also other smart devices and mobile devices, such as smartwatches or various Internet of Things tracking devices that can collect data as well. So anything that can broadly be understood as a cultural artifact and how we might understand those things using data science. That is what cultural analytics is. It's a very broad category that can encompass many things. And as you'll see throughout this presentation, there really is a broad set of applications and career possibilities for students who are interested in going this route. As far as teaching style, the courses are project oriented. That means for each of the courses, you will come up with a project of your own, something you desire to do, and you will do it throughout that course. And most of the readings, theoretical things, methodological things we cover throughout those courses will be directly related to the project you're completing in that class. That project-oriented approach also lets you build things out that can be included in a portfolio that you might show potential employers down the road as well. By having a project-oriented style, it hopes to balance research and application to where we're both thinking about the whys and the hows. Why are we doing this? What are our goals? What are we trying to accomplish? And then how do we get there? What tools do we need? What methodologies do we need in making those things happen and pursuing those goals? Finally, the teaching style is student-centered. I really go out of my way to make sure that all the cultural analytics courses have the ability to be applied to your own particular interests, the types of career goals you may have as an MSIA student, and the types of things you'll eventually do when you graduate this program and go out into the real world. So here's the three courses that comprise the cultural analytics concentration. The first one is IAL 620, text mining and natural language processing. And the core question for that course could be summed up in the following. How do we extract the most important or meaningful information from a collection of documents? And you see in the parenthetical there, a corpus. Now, what does that mean? Well, documents in this case are digital documents. They could be messages on a social media platform. They could be a group of texts that you have text mined from blogs or news sources. It could be things such as customer review comments or various other data we might extract from digital devices. But essentially, we take human written language or natural language, and we process it and make sense of it using data science tools. The next class, IAL 622, Internet of Things and Wearable Analytics. This class has a central question motivating it as well. And that question is, how do we use microprocessors, mainly Arduinos and Raspberry Pis, and other smart devices and digital sensors to better manage our environment and ourselves? So in this class, we use things like Arduinos and Raspberry Pis to collect data using sensors. So we can do some projects are something like a weather station. Other students do health tracking projects where they monitor their sleep with sleep sensors and smart devices. But essentially, we are tracking and collecting data about ourselves and our environments. Those environments could be defined as our home, our workspace, whatever you want. But we're using in this class smart devices to collect data and make sense of ourselves and our environment. Finally, the third class is IAL 632, Ethics and Intellectual Property for Data Science. And this class also has a sort of central question that motivates the work. And that question is, how do we confront issues of ownership, accountability, transparency, and accessibility for commercial and institutional applications of data-driven research and AI? Now, this course is more of a traditional course in terms of we'll be doing more reading and theorizing and understanding of ethical issues, things like privacy rights, surveillance, transparency of algorithms and AI technologies, things like what harms come from some of these technologies potentially, and what benefits come from these technologies and their applications across numerous industries, across health sciences and bioinformatics, across business and marketing research, and then also for nonprofit organizations as well. So we really take a broad perspective of understanding both the ethical things, the harms and the benefits that come from these technologies, but also the intellectual property side. What are the rules? Who owns the data? Who can access the data? What are all the various types of domains of data, and what are the legal implications of those? So this course is really important because a lot of students often gain a lot of skills and abilities from a data science perspective, but may not always know particular rules. There are laws pertaining to, say, the accessibility of data visualizations. And if you do not know those laws, you may incorrectly put out dashboards and tool sets that are not accessible to various people in the public. Okay, so this class really is an awareness raising class, and it's really a fun class. We debate controversial topics. We look at everything from topics like piracy and things like blockchain technologies, and really sort of consider what are the implications for these technologies in various domains and fields, but also for society at large. You know, not everything we do with data science is good for the world. Not everything we can do with data science tools is something that we ought to do. Some of them ought to have limitations. Some of them ought to have regulations. And we discuss and debate that stuff in this class. And I think students end up having a great time with the debates and the lecture style of this course. So as far as textbooks and books in general, I do not require students to buy any books for my course. All of the textbooks and reading materials and learning materials are things that are freely available on the internet. These are three of the more important textbooks that we utilize, but there's lots of readings that I make available in my courses. All of them are made available through either PDF copies that you can directly download, textbooks like the one you see visualized here that are public textbooks made available by R. Or if you're a Python user, I'll also give Python resources to students if that's what you prefer. While I do teach from R and from the R perspective of informatics and analytics, I have no problem if students prefer other tool sets or other environments. But as far as textbooks and books and resources, you will not be required to purchase anything as part of the cultural analytics concentration. I do ask that students I'll go back here, IAL 622, Internet of Things. I do encourage that students purchase either an Arduino or a Raspberry Pi, but those can be acquired for anywhere from $10 to $20 and are really a limited expense. And students often like buying those tools because they can keep playing with them after the course and even potentially use them in a future field or work setting. As far as capstone projects, there's really a broad set of possibilities. The ones I list here are ones that have been directly related to things students have done throughout the lifetime of the cultural analytics concentration. So These are potential jobs either students have gotten or have pursued as a result of graduating um, from the cultural analytics concentration with a degree from MSIA. So the first one would be institutional research. Things like public research or government research, things like demographic metrics, or anything broadly related to census type data, data about the public. I have a student who's currently researching long COVID and the public conversation around long COVID and the type of demographics that are engaging in that conversation, and also in the institutional research that's occurring around that. So, but I've also had students who have gotten jobs working for the government doing government research, or doing consumer research for corporations, which you can see is the second bullet there. Things like product development or customer feedback, where we're looking at things like comments and data we may extract from client comments, or things where we might do things like institutional tracking, employee tracking, things like that. So it's really a broad area that encompasses the type of research and data science you might complete as part of the cultural analytics concentration. A bigger area that people undertake are public dashboards and app development. And I put there a bullet, data journalism. So most recently, I had a student who created a dashboard related to how people may want to move to particular areas, related to research of allergies in those areas, income in those areas, and really brought together a lot of public data into a dashboard where people could really think about things related to moving that they may not think about. Mostly people are looking at a particular location in terms of jobs that are available, or they just like that location. And so they created a free data resource to where people could look at all sorts of things related to moving to particular cities and particular regions. So data journalism and app development are projects students often undertake. And then finally, your place of employment can be a great resource for an internship for doing your capstone project. A lot of students have as a process of taking my courses and doing various projects, have eventually come up with a capstone to where they're doing some sort of research at their current place of employment, collecting data, creating dashboards, creating data visualizations that can then be useful to their own work that they're currently doing. Also, students may do a potential project based on a future place of employment, or some imagining like a career they want to enter and build something for their portfolio that they can show to future employers when they go on the job market. Finally, the last two bullet points. First, technical writing. I've had students pursue careers in data visualization, accessibility, and usability, and the writing of technical documentation for data science tools, for programmable environments. One of the things you become really good at as you learn how to become an effective data scientist is reading and producing documentation. And this is actually a very marketable skill set that pays very well out in the sort of data science related world. Should you look at pursuing that track? And it's something that I know a lot about in my own personal experience and background. It can help students pursue if you're interested. Finally, the last one that I've had a lot of students pursue is actually moving on to a PhD after the MSIA program. So if you want your capstone to produce a more traditional research project or writing sample that you would provide to a PhD program as part of your application, maybe something that you try to publish in an academic journal, I can help you learn how to do more traditional research in preparation for pursuing a PhD and your doctorate. So I have had students do that as well. Okay, that's really the broad overview for the cultural analytics concentration. Again, my name is Aaron Beveridge. I teach all the courses. I developed the cultural analytics concentration and really love working with students. But I have a lot of students who sometimes just take one of the cultural analytics courses and take two other courses in another concentration. That's totally cool as well. I have some students that I only work with on their capstone and they've never taken the cultural analytics concentration. That's also cool with me. I'm really happy to support MSIA students at any level that they want to work with me. I find MSIA students to usually be very responsible, engaging, and motivated students, and love working with y'all from any angle or perspective. So you can see my contact information here. If you want to learn more or want to have an individual meeting, please email me. I'll happily schedule an individual meeting with you. Thank you so much. And that concludes our conversation and presentation today.